Alright, let's talk about something big. No, not your phone bill after you forget to turn on Wi-Fi. I'm talking about the world's most complicated relationship status. You've got the United States over here, flexing its muscles like it's still 1995. Then you've got China, the new kid on the block who basically owns the block now. They're in this epic showdown, a global rap battle, but with tariffs instead of bars. Right in the middle, trying to enjoy its chai without getting splashed, is India. Over 1 billion people. A booming economy, a very, very tricky decision to make. It's like being at a party where your two loudest friends are fighting and both keep looking at you. This isn't just picking between two superpowers. Not Coke versus Pepsi. More like a neighbor moving the fence into your yard, or a very rich friend overseas promising the world, but with an agenda. India is caught in a massive geopolitical tug-of-war. The American side, the American dream, shared democratic values, wariness of China's rise. The Chinese side, a massive, powerful neighbor you can't ignore. The pressure comes from all directions. Washington sends top diplomats to New Delhi, talk of freedom and democracy, and maybe, just maybe, selling some American fighter jets. Beijing hosts summits, ancient ties and economic prosperity, and pitches Asian unity under its leadership. For India, every handshake is a statement, every trade deal is a statement, every military exercise is a statement. Lean too far and you anger the other. This is global high school cafeteria politics. So what does India do? The answer? A little bit of both and a whole lot of neither. India tries to be friends with everyone without being best friends with anyone. To understand why India is so hesitant to jump into bed with either side, you have to look at the history books. Let's start with America. Back in the day, during the Cold War, things were frosty. While India, fresh out of British rule, was like, nah, I'm good, it chose to be non-aligned, the international equivalent of putting on headphones and pretending you can't hear anyone. India leaned a bit towards the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was America's arch nemesis. The U.S. got cozy with Pakistan. So for decades, U.S. India felt like a bad first date that never ended. Then China. In the 1950s, the slogan was Hindi Chini Bye Bye. Indians and Chinese are brothers. Nehru and Zhou Enlai, 1950s, smiling and shaking hands. It was peace. It was love. It was brotherhood. Two ancient civilizations, newly independent, ready to take on the world. But it had a terrible ending. In 1962, a brutal border war broke out in the Himalayas. It was short, it was bloody, it shattered that brotherly trust. India lost. The betrayal left a deep unhealed scar. That war changed everything. After the Cold War, things shifted. The Soviet Union was gone. India opened its economy. America saw a market of 1 billion people. The relationship warmed. Presidents visited. Trade deals were signed. They found common ground on counterterrorism. From "it's complicated" to "maybe we could hang out." A slow burn. The friendship started to feel real. Old suspicions didn't vanish. They were shoved in a drawer, maybe under some old socks. Meanwhile, India-China stayed a roller coaster. Fast forward to today, and the situation with China has gotten even more intense. That brotherly vibe is long gone, replaced by something that feels a lot more like a staring contest on a mountaintop. The border between India and China, high up in the Himalayas, is still not officially drawn on a map. It's just a line of actual control, which is a polite way of saying, this is my side, and that's your side, and let's hope nobody sneezes too hard. But in recent years, there's been a lot more than sneezing. In 2020, a deadly clash broke out in the Galwan Valley. The Galwan Valley map. Soldiers fought with fists, rocks, and clubs. It was a brutal medieval-style brawl that left soldiers dead on both sides and shocked the world. That clash was a massive wake-up call for India. For years, the thinking was that even with the border dispute, the two countries could focus on their booming economic relationship. Trade was supposed to be the glue that held everything together. But Galwan showed that the border issue could explode at any moment, regardless of how many smartphones China sells to India. It reminded everyone in New Delhi that China is not just a trading partner, it is a strategic rival with its own ambitions, and those ambitions might not leave much room for India's. This has made India very, very nervous. It's not just about the border either, basically surrounding India with a network of economic and strategic partnerships, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, the so-called string of pearls. For India, it feels less like a beautiful necklace, and more like a slowly tightening chokehold. Now, let's look at the other side of the world. While things with China have been getting tense, the phone line to Washington has been ringing off the hook. The United States sees India as the perfect partner to help balance China's power in Asia. Think about it. India is huge. It's a democracy. It has a powerful military. It shares America's concerns about China's aggressive behavior. For U.S. policymakers, teaming up with India is a no-brainer. It's like finding the one person at the party who dislikes your rival as much as you do. This has led to a whole new level of cooperation. The United States and India now call their relationship a comprehensive global strategic partnership. They've been signing major defense deals. India is buying a ton of American military hardware. Helicopters, drones, artillery. Their armies, navies, and air forces are doing more joint exercises than ever before. The biggest example is the Quad, or the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. It's an alliance between the United States, Japan, Australia, and India. While they say it's about maritime security and disaster relief, everyone knows it's really about creating a democratic front to counter China. But here's the catch for India. Getting too close to the United States comes with its own set of problems. India has always prized its strategic autonomy. Jumping into a full-blown alliance would mean giving up some independence and risk looking like America's junior partner. Furthermore, America can be an unpredictable friend. Indian policymakers remember the past. Administrations shift priorities. What if India goes all in with the United States only for a future American president to decide that making a deal with China is more important? That would leave India high and dry. It's a friendship with benefits, but India is making sure to read the fine print. So India moves closer to the U.S. strategically but carefully, keeping its autonomy. So if India isn't fully on Team USA and it's definitely not on Team China, where does that leave it? Its official relationship status on the global Facebook would be, well, it's complicated. India is trying to carve out a third path, a new pole in a multipolar world. This isn't the old-school non-alignment from the Cold War. This is a new, more active strategy some call multi-alignment. It's about engaging with everyone to serve India's own interests, being friends with everyone to get the notes for every subject. This strategy means India leads a double life, diplomatically speaking. On one day you'll see the Indian Prime Minister shaking hands with the U.S. President at a Quad summit. They'll issue strong statements aimed at Beijing, but a few weeks later you might see that same Prime Minister at a Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit, China, Russia, and others. Or at a BRICS summit, talking about alternatives to Western-led financial institutions. To an outsider it can look confusing, but for India, it's all part of the plan. The goal? Maximize benefits, minimize risks. By working with the U.S. and groups like the Quad, India gets advanced tech, intelligence sharing, and diplomatic support. By staying in BRICS and SCO, it keeps channels open with Beijing and Moscow. It's a complex, high-wire act of diplomatic juggling. India reassures everyone it is not picking a side. It's building Team India. This isn't about being indecisive, it's deliberate. Maintain flexibility in a world demanding countries fall in line. India is playing a long game, protecting its interests while shaping the rules of the road. It is a very deliberate and calculated choice to maintain flexibility in a changing world. India is trying to be a pole of its own. This strategy of multi-alignment is really India's 21st century hustle. It's a pragmatic approach born out of necessity. Indian leaders know their country is still a developing nation. It needs peace and stability to grow its economy and lift millions out of poverty. A war, hot or cold, is expensive. India needs to spend on roads, schools, and hospitals, not just fighter jets. So the goal, create an environment where India can focus on itself. Take Russia. Historically, Russia has been India's most reliable defense partner. Most of India's military equipment is of Russian origin. India can't just throw away decades of investment. When Russia invaded Ukraine, India was in an awkward position. The United States and Europe wanted India to condemn Russia loudly. India refused. It called for peace but never criticized Moscow directly, and it continued to buy discounted Russian oil for energy security. On the economic front, India plays a similar game. It joined the Quad but was hesitant on IPF. It joined talks but opted out of the key trade pillar, worried about farmers and small businesses. It signals, "We are your strategic partners, but we will not sign up for anything harmful to our economy." India will pick and choose what parts of the partnership work for us. This approach requires incredible diplomatic skill. Indian diplomats must be masters of nuance. They explain to the U.S. why they buy Russian weapons, and to Russia, China, why they exercise with the U.S. It's not about picking a side. It's building Team India, a deliberate, calculated choice to maintain flexibility. Walking this geopolitical tightrope is not easy. Every day brings a new challenge that tests India's balancing act. It's a performance that requires constant adjustments. A little step forward with one partner, a little step sideways to avoid getting too close to another. The goal is to keep moving forward without falling off. India wants American investment in technology, semiconductors, artificial intelligence. Partnering with the U.S. is the fastest way to build capabilities and reduce reliance on China for high-tech goods, but India is suspicious of becoming another node in America's supply chain, so it welcomes American companies while pushing Make in India to build national champions and tech giants. This creates friction with the U.S., which pushes for more open markets. It is one step forward in partnership, one step sideways to protect economic sovereignty. On security, India participates in exercises with the Quad, patrolling the Indian Ocean alongside allied navies. This signals deeper security integration without formal mutual defense obligations. India resists turning the Quad into a NATO-style alliance. It refuses to be bound by automatic defense treaties. For example, it won't be automatically pulled into conflicts like Taiwan. That would be a loss of the strategic autonomy India values so highly. Washington can be frustrated, but Indian leaders believe this caution is wisdom. You might be thinking, okay, this is complicated for India, but why should I care? Well, the reason everyone is obsessed with India's choices is because they will have a massive impact on the 21st century. India is not just another country. It is on track to become the world's third largest economy and is already the most populous nation on Earth. It sits in a vital location overlooking key shipping lanes through which a huge portion of global trade passes. What India does matters a lot. If India fully aligned with the U.S., it would fundamentally change the balance of power in Asia. It would create a formidable democratic bloc that would be a powerful check on China's ambitions. The Indo-Pacific region would look very different, almost like a new Cold War. On the other hand, if India drifted away from the West and closer to China, it would be a major blow to U.S. strategy. It would give China more room to expand its influence. This would strengthen the narrative that the future is Asian and Western dominance is declining. The choices India makes will help determine which future becomes reality. By refusing to be pushed into one camp, India is trying to prevent the world from splitting into two rigid blocks. It is keeping the middle ground open, acting as a potential bridge. India is a swing state on a global scale. Its decisions on trade, tech, and security will shape decades. Its choices are impossible to ignore. So, what does the future hold for India in this great power showdown? The most likely answer is more of the same. India will continue to walk its tightrope. It will deepen strategic partnership with the United States, buying weapons and sharing concerns about China. The logic is too powerful to ignore. At the same time, India cannot turn its back on its neighborhood. Geography is destiny. China will always be its giant neighbor. India must engage Beijing while standing firm on its borders. It will continue participating in BRICS and SCO, not because it agrees with everything, but to keep a seat at the table. That prevents total isolation from the region. The ultimate vision. Neither follower of the U.S. nor China, but a leading power in its own right, betting on itself, tech, industry, culture, aiming to be a Vishwaguru for the global South. This is the optimistic path. India navigates between the giants and emerges stronger. It contributes to a more balanced world order. The old days of a single superpower are fading. We are entering a multipolar era. India's refusal to pick a side is not weakness, it is ambition. Playing a long game, betting on itself, a country of 1.4 billion betting on itself is impossible to ignore. The world's balance may well pivot on India's next moves.